Good morning, my friends. I want you to close your eyes for a moment, not just to dream, but to see yourself in the light of your highest potential. I want you to imagine the life God has planned for you, the life He's whispering to you in the quiet moments, urging you to rise above mediocrity. Now, open your eyes and ask yourself, what does success truly mean to me? Not the hollow applause of the world, not the glittering trophy or the temporary comfort, but success in its purest form, a life of purpose, a life of service, a life that honors the Creator who breathed life into you. Define it in your own words, and let that definition fuel every heartbeat, every decision, every effort you make today. Think back to a moment when you felt unstoppable. Perhaps it was when you faced a challenge that seemed insurmountable, yet something inside you rose higher than fear, higher than doubt. That feeling, the surge of courage, the unwavering belief that God had equipped you for this exact moment, hold on to that. That is your inner drive, your divine engine. That is proof that you are capable of more than you've ever dared to imagine. And I promise you, that same power that carried you then is still alive within you today. Now, let's confront the truth we often shy away from. What are you avoiding because it feels hard? Is it that project, that dream, that conversation, that leap of faith? Your future self is waiting for you at the finish line, and I guarantee they will. Thank you for choosing courage over comfort, for choosing discipline over delay. Every effort you invest today, even when it's exhausting or uncomfortable, is a seed planted in the soil of your destiny. And God does not let seeds fall to the ground and wither without purpose. He nurtures them. He waters them, and one day they bear fruit beyond your imagination. Remember the moments when you proved to yourself that you can overcome something difficult. Those moments are not coincidences. They are evidence of God's hand guiding you, shaping you, and preparing you for more. Your past victories, however small they seemed, are the foundation of your present courage and your future triumphs. And as you walk forward, anchored in your faith, remember your core values: integrity, compassion, perseverance, and humility. Live by them every day, regardless of circumstances, for they are the compass that keeps you aligned with God's purpose for your life. So I ask you again, not as a suggestion, but as a command from your own potential. Wake up. Wake up with the fire of your God-given talent. Wake up with a determination that refuses to surrender to excuses, and work harder than you ever have before. Because today is not just another day, it is a divine opportunity to step closer to the destiny God designed for you. And the world, and more importantly, you, will never be the same. Now that we've stirred the fire within, it's time to focus that fire with intention. Success without direction is like a ship without a rudder full of energy, yet drifting endlessly. Ask yourself, what's one small step I can take today that moves me closer to my biggest dream? That's right, one step, not 10, not 50. Just one deliberate, purposeful action. Because it is in these small, consistent steps that God shows His faithfulness. The Lord does not call us to giant leaps without preparation. He calls us to faithful steps taken daily, trusting that He will multiply the effort. To make progress inevitable, your goals must ignite passion within you. Ask yourself, how? Can I make my goals so exciting that discipline becomes effortless? When your vision resonates with your heart and aligns with God's purpose, discipline stops feeling like a chore and becomes a natural expression of your devotion. Every morning, you rise not because someone told you to, but because your soul is electrified by the possibilities of what God is preparing for you. That energy, that excitement, transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Picture your ideal life 1 year from now. Imagine it in vivid detail. What does it look like? How does it feel? Who are you becoming? Now understand this truth. Consistency is the bridge between today and that vision. 1 year of steadfast effort, even in small measures, brings you exponentially closer to the life you dream of. Your dedication is not unnoticed by God, and neither is it wasted. Every sacrifice, every early morning, every moment of discomfort is an investment in the fulfillment of His promise for your life. And speaking of sacrifice, ask yourself honestly, what am I willing to give up temporarily to achieve long-term fulfillment? time spent on distraction, comfort, or procrastination must be replaced with purposeful action. Yes, it may feel uncomfortable. Yes, it may require saying no to short-term pleasure. But remember, temporary sacrifice yields eternal significance. God often calls us to step out of the comfort zone, to endure the discipline, and to trust Him with the results. It is in these moments that character is forged, resilience is built, and dreams begin to take shape. Finally, let's turn your someday dream into a concrete plan. Write it down. Break it into actionable steps. Schedule them. Pray over them. Review them daily. A dream without a plan is simply a wish, but a dream acted upon with faith becomes destiny. God gives clarity to those who act, direction to those who persist, and strength to those who refuse to quit. So today, define your vision. Commit to the small steps. Embrace the discipline. Sacrifice willingly. And watch as your someday begins to unfold before your very eyes. Remember, the life you imagine is not beyond reach. It is God's promise waiting for your obedience and determination. Wake up, take that step, and move relentlessly toward the vision He has placed in your heart. Now, my friends, let's confront the shadow that stands between you and your destiny. Fear. Fear is a liar, whispering that you are not enough, that your dreams are too big, that you are destined to remain in the ordinary. But let me remind you of a powerful truth. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. So, I ask you to consider, what's the worst that could happen if I tried? Truly face that question, visualize it, and then ask yourself, how would I handle it? Because in most cases, the worst-case scenario is not the end of the world. It is merely a challenge that God has equipped you to meet. We all have fears. Some are protective, guarding us from real danger, but many are illusory walls keeping us from our purpose. Ask yourself, which fears are truly protecting me, and which ones are holding me back unnecessarily? Those unnecessary fears, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort, are not from God. They are chains forged by doubt and reinforced by hesitation, and it is time to break them. When you recognize which fears are false, the power of courage grows stronger. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward, despite fear, knowing that God walks with you, that He fights for you, and that He will never leave your side. Consider failure. Most of us recoil from it, as though it is the enemy of success. But let me tell you this, failure is not a defeat, it is feedback. Each misstep, each stumble, each setback is a stepping stone in the architecture of your destiny. Ask yourself, how can I reframe failure as a step forward instead of a setback? When you begin to see every obstacle as an opportunity to grow, every mistake as a lesson from the Almighty, fear loses its grip. You become unstoppable because your vision is anchored not in circumstances but in faith. Courage, my friends, is not an abstract idea. It is tangible. It is something you practice in the exact moment when fear rises. Ask yourself, what does courage look like for me in this exact moment? Is it sending that message, taking that first step, speaking your truth, or daring to start over when the world says it's too late? Courage is action with God as your guide, a decision to move forward while holding tightly to His promises, even when your heart trembles. And when fear whispers, when doubt tries to paralyze your progress, I want you to anchor yourself to one empowering thought. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am equipped by God. I am capable of more than I believe. I am not alone. Repeat it. Claim it. Let it flood every corner of your mind and soul. Because when you do, fear loses its power, doubt dissolves, and a new reality emerges, one in which you rise, you act, and you conquer, not by your strength alone, but by the power of the Spirit living within you. Remember, my friends, fear and doubt are not permanent barriers. They are invitations from God to trust Him, to step boldly, and to embrace the fullness of your calling. Today, decide to face them, name them, challenge them, and then, with courage and faith as your armor, take the step you've been avoiding. For on the other side of fear is not destruction, it is the life God has been waiting for you to claim. Now that we've faced fear and embraced courage, it's time to talk about the quiet, powerful force that turns dreams into reality: consistency. You see, talent and vision are important, but without discipline, they are like seeds scattered on rocky ground, promising, yet unfulfilled. So ask yourself, what daily habits align most with the person I want to become? Those habits, no matter how small, are the building blocks of greatness. Prayer, reflection, planning, exercise, study, or simply showing up. These are not just routines, they are the embodiment of your commitment to God's plan for your life. Progress is often invisible in the moment, and that's why many give up too soon. But you can make it visible. Track it, measure it, celebrate small wins. When you see the steps adding up, your faith in the process grows, and motivation follows naturally. Ask yourself, how can I make progress visible so I stay motivated over time? Because the journey of 1,000 miles is walked one step at a time, and God honors every faithful step you take. Momentum begins the moment you rise each morning with purpose. Ask, what's one thing I can do every morning to build momentum for the day? Maybe it's reading a great passage of Scripture, setting your intentions, journaling your goals, or simply expressing gratitude for the gift of life. Whatever it is, let it be the spark that ignites your day, the force that carries you forward, and the habit that compounds into extraordinary results over time. Remember this: intensity is fleeting, but consistency endures. Motivation waxes and wanes like the tide, but discipline, when rooted in faith, stands firm like a lighthouse in the storm. Ask yourself, how do I remind myself that consistency beats intensity? By committing, not to bursts of effort that fizzle, but to faithful actions that multiply. Every day you show up. Even when it's uncomfortable, you are training your spirit, refining your character, and inching closer to the life God designed for you. And here's the deepest question of all. What is your why? Why do you rise when the bed feels too warm? Why do you persist when the path feels too steep? Your why is not simply to succeed, it is to honor the gifts God has entrusted to you, to impact others, to leave a legacy, and to live a life of purpose and meaning. When motivation fades, and it will, your why will carry you. When the world doubts you, your why will anchor you. And when exhaustion threatens to stop you, your why will push you forward, reminding you that God equips those He calls. So today, choose the quiet, daily actions that align with your vision. Choose to be faithful over flashy, consistent over intense, disciplined over distracted. For it is not the single act, but the daily commitment to rise, to act, and to persevere that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary testimonies of God's power and purpose. Your life is not meant to drift. It is meant to move with intention, with faith, and with unyielding discipline. As we continue this journey together, I want you to pause and ask yourself a question that can change everything. What would I do every day if I knew I couldn't fail? Imagine waking up with complete confidence, knowing that every step you take is guided by God and that His favor surrounds your efforts. In that place of faith, fear loses its grip, doubt is silenced, and your heart begins to beat in rhythm with your true calling. What would you pursue if failure was impossible? Whatever that is the work you were created to do. Purpose begins with alignment. Ask yourself, how can I align my daily actions with something that truly matters to me? It's not enough to be busy. We must be intentional. Every task, every decision, every interaction is a thread in the tapestry of your destiny. When your actions reflect your values, when they honor God and serve others, life becomes meaningful. Even the smallest deeds done consistently and with love become powerful instruments of divine purpose. Now, think beyond yourself. What impact do I want to leave behind on others or the world? Legacy is not measured by wealth or recognition. It is measured by the lives you touch, the hope you inspire, and the goodness you leave behind. Every kind word, every act of service, every choice to live with integrity, plants seeds that will grow long after you are gone. And remember, God multiplies even the smallest efforts when they are rooted in love and purpose. To live fully is to know when you feel most alive. Ask yourself, when do I feel most alive, and how can I create more of those moments? Those moments are your compass, guiding you to the work and relationships that resonate with your soul. They reveal where your passions and God-given gifts intersect. Make time for them, nurture them, and allow them to inform the way you live each day. Life is too precious to drift through it half awake. You were created to shine, to move with intention, and to embrace joy as a byproduct of faithful living. Finally, ask yourself, what does living with purpose feel like for me? It feels like peace in the midst of struggle, courage in the face of fear, and joy in the pursuit of something greater than yourself. It feels like your life has meaning, that every effort matters, and that you are walking in alignment with God's plan. Purpose is not a destination. It is a daily choice to live intentionally, to honor God in all things, and to let your light shine so brightly that it guides others out of darkness. So, my friends, I challenge you. Wake up each day with a heart full of faith, hands ready to serve, and eyes fixed on the body, eternal significance of your life. Let your actions be deliberate, your choices reflect your values, and your purpose align with God's calling. For in living this way, you will not only achieve your dreams, you will live a life of fulfillment, meaning, and lasting impact, a life that glorifies God and leaves the world better than you found it. Before we bring this journey full circle, I want us to pause and reflect on a force more powerful than fear, doubt, or even obstacles: gratitude. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for today that I once wished for? The house you live in, the job you hold, the relationships you treasure, many of the blessings you now take for granted were once the very things you prayed for. Recognize them, acknowledge them. Let the awareness of God's provision fuel your heart with joy and renew your determination to honor Him with your life. Gratitude also transforms how we perceive our challenges. Ask yourself, how can I see today's challenge as an opportunity for growth? Every difficulty, every setback, every delay carries a lesson within it. God often uses trials not to punish us, but to refine us, to strengthen our faith, and to prepare us for greater victories. When you shift your perspective, you begin to see the divine hand in the struggle, and obstacles no longer feel like walls, they become stepping stones. Take a moment to consider the small victories you might be overlooking. Ask, what small victories am I overlooking that deserve celebration? Perhaps it's consistency in your habits, courage in the face of fear, progress in a project, or patience in a difficult relationship. Recognizing these wins, no matter how minor they seem, strengthens your spirit and reminds you that progress is happening even when it is not immediately visible. Celebrate these moments. They are proof that God is at work in your life. Think about the people who inspire you. Ask who in my life inspires me to keep going and why. Maybe it's a mentor, a family member, a friend, or even a biblical figure whose life echoes God's truth. Their example serves as a reminder that perseverance, faith, and resilience are possible. Let their courage, wisdom, and dedication guide you. And remember, God often speaks through the people He places in your life, showing you the path when your own vision feels clouded. Finally, let's transform frustration into appreciation. Ask yourself, how can I turn frustration into appreciation for how far I've come? Reflect on your journey, the late nights, the early mornings, the challenges you've overcome, and the lessons you've learned. Instead of dwelling on what remains unfinished, acknowledge what has been accomplished. Gratitude is a lens that illuminates the progress you've made, strengthens your faith, and inspires you to continue with confidence. My friends, a life lived with gratitude and perspective is a life that magnifies God's goodness and multiplies joy. When you focus on blessings rather than burdens, victories rather than failures, and purpose rather than setbacks, your heart aligns with God's will. Challenges become opportunities. Frustrations turn into lessons, and every day becomes a chance to move closer to the life you were called to live. So, today, take a moment to reflect, to give thanks, and to see your life through the lens of God's infinite grace. In doing so, you will not only grow stronger, but you will walk with renewed faith, hope, and unwavering determination. Now, my friends, it's time to stop merely thinking, stop merely planning, and start acting. Dreams remain dreams without action, visions remain visions without effort, and purpose remains dormant without commitment. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can finish today that will make me proud tonight? Just one. It doesn't have to be monumental. It could be sending that important message, completing that project, or taking the first step toward a long-awaited goal. Finish it, claim it, and let that small victory ignite the fire within you to keep moving forward. Courage is not just for big moments, it's for the hard things we delay. Ask, what's one hard thing I can do right now to build momentum? It could be a conversation you've been avoiding, a decision you've postponed, or a task that feels uncomfortable. When you act in faith, even in difficulty, you prove to yourself that God equips you to handle challenges far greater than you imagined. Momentum builds from action, and every step forward strengthens your resolve and sharpens your discipline. Progress does not always wait for motivation. Ask yourself, how can I make progress even when I don't feel motivated? The answer lies in faithful consistency. Commit to small steps daily, even when enthusiasm wanes. God honors persistence. Every repeated action, no matter how small, compounds over time. Motivation is fleeting, but action, guided by purpose and discipline, creates unstoppable momentum. You don't need to feel ready, you just need to start. Perfection is often the enemy of progress. Ask yourself, what can I start right now instead of waiting for the perfect time? The perfect time may never arrive, but today is a gift. Take what you have, where you are, and move forward with confidence, trusting that God will provide direction, resources, and strength as you act. Waiting breeds regret. Starting breeds transformation. Finally, ask, what's one thing I can do today that my future self will thank me for? This is the ultimate measure of action. Every choice you make, every task you complete, every step you take today, either serves your future or hinders it. Choose wisely, work diligently, act boldly. Your future self is cheering you on, urging you to rise, to persevere, and to claim the life God intended for you. So, my friends, stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop letting fear and doubt hold you back. Take action today. Start the task, make the call, write the plan, or take the step you've been putting off. Every small effort compounds into progress. Every bold move strengthens your faith. And every completed action brings you closer to the life you were created to live. Remember, God has called you to action, equipped you for victory, and promised to walk with you every step of the way. Today is your day. Make it count. Act boldly. And let your future self look back with gratitude, knowing you chose courage over comfort, action over delay, and faith over fear. This section is 500 words. Maintaining the Christian. Motivational tone, directly addressing the audience, and emphasizing practical, actionable steps to move forward. As we step further into this journey of faith, determination, and purpose, I want you to take a moment and imagine yourself 10 years from now. Ask, what would my 10-year older self say to me right now? Picture that version of you, stronger, wiser, seasoned by trials, and shaped by victories. That older you would likely say, start now. Stop hesitating. Every moment you delay is a moment lost. Trust God. Keep the faith. Keep moving forward. Let that voice guide you today, because the steps you take now will echo through the decades of your life. Now, consider this. If I knew I'd succeed no matter what would I start doing differently? What would you attempt if fear could no longer hold you back, if doubt could not paralyze your vision, and if God's favor was guaranteed to accompany your actions? Maybe you would pursue that audacious goal, speak your truth boldly, or dedicate yourself to a dream you've been too cautious to chase. Understand this. Success begins in the heart, is fueled by faith, and is manifested through unwavering action. When you act as though success is possible and trust that God equips you, you unlock potential you never realized existed. Ask yourself, what legacy do I want to build, and what's the first step toward it? Legacy is not just what you accumulate, but the lives you touch, the hope you inspire, and the mark you leave on the world. Every day, your choices either bring you closer to that legacy or divert you from it. Identify the first step. Take it boldly. Start small if you must, but start today. Remember, the Almighty multiplies effort when aligned with purpose. Growth is not a straight line. It is a journey of peaks and valleys, triumphs and setbacks. Ask, how can I remind myself daily that growth is not linear? Celebrate small victories. Learn from every challenge. Keep a journal of progress. Surround yourself with people who uplift, encourage, and remind you that every step, even backward, is part of the climb God designed for you. Patience and perseverance are the hallmarks of long-term success. Finally, ask yourself, what does unstoppable commitment look like in my life? It looks like rising before the world stirs, showing up even when tired, pushing forward when progress seems invisible, and holding fast to God's promises even when the path is unclear. It is faith put into action, discipline maintained through challenges, and passion fueled by a vision that is larger than temporary discomfort. Unstoppable commitment is the bridge between dreams and reality, between purpose and fulfillment, and between a life of ordinary effort and extraordinary achievement. So, my friends, commit today to a life of vision, action, and relentless pursuit. Let your 10-year-older self inspire you. Let your faith embolden you. Let your legacy guide you. Trust God, work diligently, embrace the journey, and move forward with unstoppable commitment. Because the life you dream of is not just a possibility, it is your calling, waiting for you to rise, take action, and claim it in the fullness of God's grace. There are moments in every journey when motivation fades, when the fire in our hearts flickers, and when the weight of challenges feels almost too heavy to bear. It is in these moments that we must reignite our spirit with intentional questions, questions that remind us of God's purpose, our calling, and the power He has placed within us. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can control right now? It may feel like so much is beyond your reach, but God has given you authority over your choices, your effort, and your attitude. Focus on what you can control, act on it, and watch how momentum begins to return. Next, consider, what would the best version of me do next? Picture that version of yourself, disciplined, courageous, persistent, and unwavering in faith. That version does not give in to fear, procrastination, or doubt. That version acts decisively, with confidence and clarity, trusting in God's plan. Align yourself with that ideal, step into it, and take action today. You are capable of more than you give yourself credit for when you act from that place of faith and vision. Then ask, what's one reason I started this journey? Remember the moment when your heart first burned with purpose, the spark that ignited your dreams. Maybe it was for your family, your calling, your legacy, or your faith. Reconnect with that reason, hold it close, and let it guide your decisions. God often places reminders of our why in our hearts, precisely for moments like this, when the world seems heavy, when fatigue sets in, when doubt whispers. When frustration threatens to overwhelm you, ask, how can I turn this moment into fuel instead of frustration? Every challenge, every obstacle, every delay is training from God. It is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Shift your perspective. Let the difficulty energize you. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it be the momentum that propels you forward instead of holding you back. Finally ask, what if this challenge is the training I need for my next level? Every trial is preparation for something greater. God does not waste our struggles. He uses them to refine our character, strengthen our faith, and equip us for the extraordinary purpose He has for our lives. Trust that this moment is shaping you, molding you, and preparing you to rise to the next level of your destiny. So, my friends, when motivation feels low, do not despair. Pause, reflect, and ask the right questions. Take control of what you can. Act like the best version of yourself. Reconnect with your purpose. Turn frustration into fuel, and embrace challenges as divine training. In doing so, you will reignite the fire within you, overcome obstacles, and move forward with clarity, courage, and unstoppable momentum. Remember, God has called you to action, equipped you with strength, and promised to walk with you through every trial. No matter how difficult the journey, you are never alone, and every step forward, no matter how small, is a step closer to the life He designed for you.